This is the ultimate guide to HVAC SEO for 2024, 2025 and beyond. It's all about local SEO. And I'll tell you what, you can do this. You can do this. You could rank an HVAC company just from this video if you really diligently do this. We have a client that has 188% more year-over-year rankings on the first page of Google just from the stuff I'm going to share with you in this video. So let's get into it. And basically, if you're not aggressive on SEO nowadays, there's almost no point in doing it.
Subscribe and hit the bell.
First, SEO is about content. Content means blog posts, landing pages, and any other pages or posts that go onto your website that content is comprehensive and it's made for topics that people are actually searching for. Number two, HVAC SEO needs links from other websites to your website. And that could be stuff as simple as the Chamber of Commerce in your area. It could be your kids' sports team that you sponsor. It could be a blog post on a realtor's website that you're friends with that links back to your website. And I'm going to share with you a bunch of other ways to get links in this video. And then lastly, the other major bucket is technical SEO. And that's that your website is fast and well ordered, that the website has basic technical SEO in place. I'm going to share with you specifics on that in this video as well. So how did we get 188% more first page rankings for our HVAC client? Well, it wasn't just from doing these things one time. It was from being consistent about this and doing it for a long period. In this case, we've worked with this client for 2 years and we've been consistent about these things and we've shared all that work that we're doing with them every single month in a Google Drive folder. Now, the hard part about doing this internally sometimes is that people get distracted by other types of marketing. If you were to do this, you're doing video, you're doing social, you're doing SEO, and SEO usually takes the back burner for a lot of people because it's obvious when you're doing those social posts. It's obvious when you publish those videos, but a lot of times marketing managers internally at these companies are tasked with a lot of things, and that's why a lot of people hire hookagency.com for this type of work. All right, so there's 3 ways to go with this. Before we get into the specifics, we got DIY, you could do it yourself as a business owner. You got hire somebody and have them do it. And then you've got hiring an agency. So there's a lot of ways that you could go with this. You can check out our free course on this. We have 14 videos on how to rank for a home service business at hookagency.com/DIY. And you can hire us to do this at hookagency.com. But if you want to learn yourself, these are the buckets that you're going to have to focus on. Content, links, technical, right? We already talked about those. What are the basic requirements for anybody? Whether it's an agency, whether it's yourself, or whether you're hiring internally, the main thing is that you need to be getting this content out, right? So regular content publication is the basic. Whatever route you go, you gotta do regular content publication. I would focus on the city plus service pages first. Cities plus service, because those are the ones that are most likely to make you money. And so getting those out. If you don't have location pages, city plus service landing pages, that's where to go first. What is that? A landing page is just, let's say you have some bullets up top for why we're an awesome company, but then as you get down, there's a lot of content on that page. A lot of times we put the form up top and then we have different sections with a bunch of content. We want those pages to be at least like 700 to 1,000 words of content about this city plus your service. So, whether it's air duct cleaning in Fresno, California, or whatever it happens to be, for each of your services in each of the major cities that you have a page out for them. So you have to kind of create this initial structure. And like I said, you want the form up top and bullet points about that service and why your company is better. And then you might even have some trust factors. This is just so that the website actually does its job and sells some deals. So things like Google reviews, Angie Super Service Award or something like that. That's another trust factor. If you're Google guaranteed, you could have your Google guaranteed badge. And those things will help push that person to fill out that form if they actually land on that page. And then you could have some about content, and then you get into a little bit more of like, I call it the main content area. A lot of times it's just a column Yeah, I like to bring the content in a little bit so it's like easy to read, and you have images and text, images and text. Or you could alternate. You can do an image, text, text, image, or however you want to do that. But you want to alternate or have one major section, but you need to get up to 700 words to 1,000 words. So how are we going to do that? So once you have that template on your website down, then you just duplicate it for every city and every service. Duplicate it and put it out. That's really, honestly, if there was one activity that was money-making SEO activity, that's it. So if you're doing a bunch of other stuff and you're not doing this, this is how you make money, is do a bunch of city plus service landing pages. That's, if there was one activity, that would be it. Then you move on to things like blog posts. The reason blog posts are good is because you are creating a authority on the internet for a topic. Like if we were talking about air duct cleaning, for instance. If you had an ultimate guide to air duct, common questions, how often should you have your air ducts cleaned? You answer all these questions. Like let's say there's 20 major questions people have about air duct cleaning, and you answered all of those in different blog posts. One, figure out how many people are searching for those things by using a tool like Ahrefs, Ahrefs.com, or SEMrush, SEMrush.com, and search what you think what I do a lot of times is I'll search what I think they're searching for on Google, and then I find the top result. So let's say I thought my keyword was how often should I get my air ducts cleaned? I searched that on Google. I grabbed the top result, I put it in either SEMrush or Ahrefs, and then I see what it's really ranking for. Let's do it now. All right, so I'm gonna use the Ahrefs because that's best in class. I'm gonna pull it up in Google. I'm gonna say, how often should I clean my air ducts? It's giving me the answer right away, but what we wanna do is rank for it. So I'm gonna go to hoffmanbros.com, which is the #1 result right now. And I'm gonna put it into our tool. Oops, I'm gonna make sure I have the correct link. Maybe I click all the way through to it. And how often? Look at this, ooh. See, this is advanced. Look what they're doing here. They got the indoor air quality as the category, and then they have a slash, and then they have duct cleaning, and then they have a slash, how often. So this website has an insane amount of subfolders with this in it. It's kind of incredible what they've done here. That's advanced stuff, right? It's advanced when you use, and we use like folder structure. Real quick, just most people won't follow, but if you have folder structure, you can actually drive power back to the main categories, which is what they're trying to do here. So just for this, they're ranking for 792 keywords, just for this one blog post, which is a sub-page of their overall indoor air quality thing. So how often to clean air ducts? That's the real keyword. We just found it out. The #1 keyword is how often to clean air ducts. I'm looking at this column right here, which is volume, how much searches they have for it. And I can sort by volume by clicking that. It's ranking number 88 for just air duct. Clean air ducts, it's ranking number 31, but we want to figure out what it's actually likely to rank for, and that's why I like just looking at the overall main keyword that it has the most volume for, traffic. So if you click traffic, then it will order it by how much traffic it has, how often to clean air ducts, or how often should you clean air ducts. So the difference in how SEO used to be done was the SEO, we used to go after one keyword. And it's just not like that anymore. So you can see this is ranking for 757 keywords, just a blog post about how often should you clean your air ducts. So there's gonna be various phrases, and you might wanna take note of the top 3. But the title, if we made a blog post like this and we wanna rank for this, the title is gonna start with how often to clean air ducts. And you want the keyword phrase to be at the beginning of the title. You also want it to be potentially contained within the permalink, so the link that you're creating, how dash often dash to dash clean air ducts. I might remove a few of those things just to get it tight, because you want it to be like 3 to 5 words, but you want to have it at the beginning of the title, you want to have it in the permalink, you want to have it in the meta title, and you want to have it in the description, as well as you want to have it in subheadlines. So when you're creating a blog post or a page, you put subheadlines with that keyword in it, and you want to put it at the beginning and the end of the blog post. It might seem like a lot, but wait, there's more. You also want to put it as the alt tags for images. So, and you want to include multiple images. But if you got this one thing down, I've already shared with you how to do keyword research for things that you might have as guesses, right? Keyword research, all you have to do is put your guess into Google and then backwards engineer from Ahrefs or SEMrush. Now I have unlimited keywords I can go after. Look at this, because all I have to do is look at your services and figure out what other things people might be searching and then put them into Google and then backwards engineer them. Easy peasy. And then you just create content like that over and over and over again. So you might be thinking, oh, Tim, like this sounds crazy, this sounds hard, but that's the main thing. That's like most of SEO, right? So even though it seems hard, if you stayed consistent with that, how often should you post? Well, you should at least post for the beginning a good chunk of location pages a month. Let's say if you did one a week for a while, one a week for a few months at least. And then if you go to the blog post, I think you should be doing a couple blog posts every week. So this is if you want to be aggressive. And basically, if you're not aggressive on SEO nowadays, there's almost no point in doing it. So the real question you should ask before you do any of this is like, is there a point in doing it? Are you going to go hard? And if you're not going to go hard, don't play, because it's literally going to waste your time. Because we have to get on page 1 for a bunch of these things, and even though we create content, we're really going to create a lot of content. 5 out of 50 things are going to take off. Not everything is going to land on page 1. We have to go after stuff aggressively, and then 5 out of 50 things is going to take off. And even though that's the truth for the case study that I shared at the beginning of this, we have 180 some % increase in keywords on the first page after a year. So a lot of stuff didn't rank, right? So you really have to put out a lot of bait on the internet. You have to seed the pot, you have to feed the algorithm, and then some stuff will take off and some stuff will not. And if you're ranking for this stuff about common questions that how often to clean your air ducts, you're more likely to rank for air duct cleaning services. And that's all SEO is. It's like we want to rank for the stuff that makes us money. Ranking for this stuff is just going to help us rank for that stuff. So that is the basics of keyword research. Another thing that you can do is competitive analysis. And competitive analysis is just super fun. So now that I see HoffmanBros.com is looking like they're cranking, and they don't have to be a competitor in your area. You can literally just go back to anybody who's doing SEO really, really well and look at all the keywords that they have. Because I might find that they have great blog post keywords even though they're across the country. A lot of times people think they have to go to their direct competitors, but some of your direct competitors, even the ones that are big, aren't doing SEO that well. Because there's a ton of ways to grow your business, not just SEO. SEO happens to be one of them. But I can go look at somebody, let's say I'm in Minneapolis, maybe I want to look in Chicago and see who's doing really well on SEO in Chicago. I'd Google some of the top terms, and then I'd put them into Ahrefs, and then I'd figure out if they're ranking for a bunch of other stuff. And if they were, then I'd look at their stuff. And I'd say do at least 5. So you can create a spreadsheet. You can put 5 people that are doing SEO very well in there. You can go and figure out what keywords they're ranking for, and you can make a list. So let's say you went and found 30 keywords for top 5 competitors or people that are doing SEO really, really well. And then you can essentially systematically go after those. You find your best keywords, you prioritize by the best keywords, which are ones that are most likely to make you money. Or you can also look back to the screen here for a second. You can look at keyword difficulty. So if I'm doing competitive analysis for Hoffman Bros, I can look at keyword difficulty. And if they look at a lot of these keywords, sewer, smell, and bathroom, now we're talking about plumbing, but it's 4. You know, there's a 4 difficulty, and it's good to rank for stuff, okay? So let's look at, maybe I don't want to do that one first because maybe that's not like a huge chunk of my revenue, or maybe I'm not prioritizing plumbing right now or whatever. Low humidity in house. Low humidity just has a 14 difficulty. And a 20 difficulty is starting to get, it's a little harder, but low humidity in house, that could be a real prospect, Googling that, right? So we're kind of ordering it by that. We're trying to figure out a good balance of volume, how many people are searching it a month in this column, and keyword difficulty, or KD. How hard is it going to be for me to rank based on, you know, how many people are trying for this already, or what else is ranking for it? How often to clean air ducts is on there? Whew. That's so funny that I guess that's not that crazy of a question, but yeah, 500 volume, 6 difficulty. That is a great keyword, guys. And it's funny that if you do a lot of SEO, you start to get like good at just like grabbing them out of the air, because you start to understand like, okay, I get that most HVAC companies wouldn't necessarily put that blog post out right when they start, right? That's kind of a little bit of a deeper question, or like it's not the first thing you'd think of if you're trying to do this. But so there's probably not that many people writing this blog already. That's what you're trying to figure out. Are there hundreds of blogs about this already? And then also average homeowner. It's kind of like you put your homeowner hat on. Would I need this blog? Would I need this blog? And that's how I started SEO. Like if I look back on the beginning of my SEO career when I started this, 3 blocks from here actually. And I was just, what did I want? And I started to make blog posts about stuff that I wanted, which at the time was fonts. I wanted fonts, and I wanted like images of the fonts. So you really can, the alt text on images works really, really well. Because I would put really long alt text on images on the fonts, and then I would make a blog post of all these fonts. Now, did that make me any money? No, but it did teach me SEO. And it taught me that if you go after terms that no one else is like going after, that you can rank for that at least. And sometimes it's just you want Google to see your website. Like especially if you're very early, you need Google to start seeing your website and to start feeding you traffic. You need there to be signs of life. You need this site to be, you had the paddles. We need to wake this thing up. We need to wake up this dead website. And if your website's dead, you need to get stuff out on it that will actually rank and get traffic in the door. And then you can start focusing on money-making keywords. But some people only focus on money-making keywords, and what I'm saying is Google wants to see topical authority. Now you can do it better than I did right at the beginning, but then I went on to rank it for Minneapolis web design, and we're number 1 for Minneapolis marketing in a town with 500 plus marketing agencies. So humble beginnings, and your website will have humble beginnings at the beginning too. Like you cannot run in and rank for, you know, city name plus HVAC right away. You have to figure out a way to get people in the door, and then as time goes on, your website will increase in authority, and there's all these metrics, and most of them are imprecise, but there's domain authority essentially. Let's just use that idea. Domain authority, and the more domain authority you have, the easier it is to rank for something. We did a fun experiment just to give a little bit of a, like, because our website ranks for so much stuff and we have thousands of people on it every single day, we did a fun exercise where we just did, who is the sexiest man in Minnesota? And our lead SEO, Cody, at the time ranked, and his face was up there at the top of the result. Who's the sexiest man in Minnesota? And he was ranking at the top. So it's fun, but it illustrates this point of like, once your website has domain authority, then you can rank for other stuff. So the question is, if it's easier to rank for stuff later when you have domain authority, how do you get domain authority? Well, you have to get links from other websites back to yours. So let's talk about a few ways to do that. The first way that I recommend to get links back to your website to increase domain authority so you can rank for stuff that actually makes you money is local directory listings. And one way to do that is White Spark. and look at their local directory listing service and buy the premium one, or buy whatever one you want. But local directory listings from wherever you get them are essentially just, as it says, local directories, places where business can list their company. And we do recommend that your name, address, and phone number are consistent all throughout. And that's honestly one of the reasons I like these services versus you could go register on every single one of these directories by hand. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just make sure your name, address, and phone number are consistent. This allows Google to algorithmically kind of fact check and say, okay, this is a legitimate business. It's in this location. People could call them here. That's what it is. It's traditionally been one of the most important things. It may be a little less important today, but I still recommend being highly consistent. That means down to the punctuation, and don't put LLC on one website and not put LLC on another website. So name, address, and phone number consistent on local directory listings is the first link building activity. 2, press release distribution. So press releases, it's kind of an older school SEO technique, but it's really cheap and really easy to just get a press release distributed. So just Google press release distribution and check out some of the services. You know, it could be anywhere from $200 to $700. You probably shouldn't need to pay more than that. But essentially you write a press release, or they write it for you in some cases, and it's distributed to all these websites. And really, I'm recommending that you leave the way that they do the link naturally in there, which is that it's your URL, and you link your URL. And a lot of these press release distribution services will just ask for your URL and will link it automatically. So if they're gonna do that, just leave that, because it's good to have different types of links back to your website. And so the top natural links that happen as you grow a business are branded. So, you know, your company name is linking back to your website. Then on press releases, in a lot of places, your URL linking back to your website. And then as time goes on, you might get a few links naturally with other things like click here, see more, random text. So if you're building links, you should build some of that as well. And then as time goes on, if you get a really juicy, good link and you use the keyword that you want to rank for, less than 5% of the time on your best links, that can be really powerful to rank for that. So if you're trying to rank for city name plus HVAC, every once in a while on a really good link from a different website back to your website, you could link back with that term, and that will help. The other one is like the company name plus the keyword, and that would be very rare as well if it was natural, correct? But you do want to mix those things in as time goes on, but you want 90 to 95% of your links to be the other things, branded, your URL, random. So you need to get links back from other websites. I said local directory listings, press release distribution, there's guest posting. So you can actually buy guest posts out on the internet, or you can reach out to somebody, as you've seen in your inbox, because people are asking you to write on your website. I know that if you're a business owner, that's the case. Some of those actually do get through and people say yes. And you could do the same thing. I used to do it manually by hand. I used to message 1,000 people. I actually use software, but I'd message 1,000 people and ask them if I could write for their website. And I would get some that would say yes. And I would get some that would ask for money. And so in a way you're paying for it, whether it's with your time or with dollars, right? So at the end of the day, it might make sense to pay a guest post outreach service. And there are a few of those that I can't recommend one. Really, ultimately, we do this for our clients as part of our service. And if we ever use any of these services, we alternate, because you don't want it to all come from the same database of websites. You want it to be random. You want it to feel random to Google. So you don't want to just like go to one, you don't want to go to Fiverr and be like, hey, give me 1,000 links. That's terrible for your SEO. But you may want to use something like The Hoth or Outreach Mama or Authority Builders. Those are 3 examples of link building websites that are pretty good, and they do manual outreach to websites and ask to write for them, and then they write a blog post and then link back to the client. So, and those things are anywhere from 200 to 500 to way up there, thousands and thousands of dollars for links. And some of them are down to like full on journalism, like, and still getting placed on places like USA Today. A USA Today link might go for like 4,000 bucks. But really the biggest and hardest to get links are the ones that would be the most powerful. I mean, I remember a client that got an interview with Aaron Rodgers, Artful Living here in Minneapolis, and immediately they got picked up by TMZ, and they were on the homepage, linked from the homepage of TMZ to our client. And it, boom, just did a lot for their rankings very quickly. So one other principle, and I know we're in nerd stuff here, but one other principle is the closer to the front page the page is on that particular website, the more powerful that link is. So links have a kind of a gradient of power. Websites that barely matter and are almost nothing, their links don't really get a lot of say in how, like, it's not a very powerful link. TMZ's homepage gets a very powerful link, right? And TMZ's inner page automatically goes way down. But it's still high, right? In comparison with other websites with very little traffic. One way to look at that is domain rating on Ahrefs to figure out whether a website is high in its power. And there's also page rating. So how powerful is that page within the website? One way to leverage this idea of PR-driven links, which I've done a lot of this, and it's allowed me to get on Inc.com's physical magazine a few years ago, which is really cool. I've been on Forbes, and I've been on a bunch of other websites because of this strategy, and I'll share with you now, is Haro, Help a Reporter Out. So if you were strapped and you didn't want to do guest posting, this would be a way to actually land you or your client on websites with powerful links. And essentially what it is journalists come to the website, they ask for sources. They say, hey, I'm writing a blog post for USA Today or whatever about traveling during the beginning of school or whatever, or school supplies for kids in hurricane affected area or something like that. They're doing an article on something newsy right now. And if somebody was willing to give them something, and if it was in home services, in your case as an HVAC SEO person now, because you watch this video, then you could give them information. And in my case, like I have to, if I've done stuff like this for clients, I have to go to that client and ask, hey, can I get some specific information about this topic so I can give it to this journalist? Then I give it to that journalist, and then we get cited in that article and linked back to, because that's like proper etiquette for them. So Haro, Help a Reporter Out, is one way to get links from actually high value websites, and it's very, very natural. And honestly, Google loves those links if you ever get them. And like I said, I've gotten in the print version of Inc., which is crazy. So there are 4 ways: local directory listings, press release distribution, guest posting, and Haro, or Help a Reporter Out. You can also leverage any sponsorships that you have. If you sponsor something, ask them to link from their homepage. And now you know the basics of linking. And these are some ways to get links. We covered content, how and why to create content, all the places you should put the keyword, how to find topics. You can also use your creativity, by the way. Links, and a bunch of ways to get links. The last thing that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to talk about it briefly, because I know if you're really going to get into technical SEO, you're probably not going to learn it all from this one video. But the things that matter are making sure that the website is well structured. So if you are buying a website, or if you're working on a website, making sure that it's clean and that there's comprehensive content on each page. You don't want a bunch of pages with very little content. So for instance, if you have testimonials on the website. Sometimes WordPress themes, for instance, will create an extra page for every single testimonial that is on the website, and they'll get indexed and they'll actually water your whole website down in Google. So you need to go into your SEO plugin, whether it's Yoast SEO, or in our case we use Rank Math, which is kind of the most modern one, and ask it to de-index anything with testimonials. De-index all the individual testimonials and any other things like that where there's a bunch of extra stuff that's created that you don't want it to be indexed, so your website isn't watered down. You can also use a page speed plugin, and it really depends on what you want. I mean, I like WP Fastest Cache and a few other ones, but look into a really good page speed plugin and make sure you're turning on all the settings, but make sure the front end of the website doesn't break. Because sometimes if a website is poorly built, then if you turn on all these caching things, the website will break. So check it in between your setting changes, but make it as aggressive as it possibly will go without breaking. And that we're talking about, like, if a website loads for 4 seconds, it's actually gonna affect the rankings negatively. But if it ranks in 2 seconds, usually that's pretty good. And so if you can get it down to 2 seconds, if you can get your website ranking, or if you can get your website down to 2 seconds loading time, that's a big deal. So those are just 2 beginner steps. Install Rank Math, de-index thin and duplicate content, and use a caching plugin like WP Fastest Cache. Get it aggressive, make sure the website doesn't break, just to get started on technical SEO. Everything else with meta titles and descriptions that I talked about earlier is sometimes called part of technical SEO or on-page SEO. We don't need to get into terms, but the point is you got content, links, technical SEO. And if you get better on those things and are doing things towards that every single month, Google will reward your website with traffic. And that's how we got that 180% increase for our client. Like I said, if you turn on this caching things and the website breaks, it may be because of a poorly built website. So a lot of times we'll do websites from scratch. We do it in the best practices and we make them really fast and really well ordered for Google and SEO. So if you need somebody like that to work on a website for you, we'd love to help. And we'd love to share with you how to edit and how to add images and text and all these different things. We know what we're doing on HVAC websites, and we'd love to help you with that. And we also do Google ads. We want to rank in as many places on the front end side of Google as possible. So we want to be in the local service section. We want to be in the maps. We want to be on the ads, we want to be in the organic side, and really for our clients, we try to help them with all of the things so that they can rank. And if you want to do this yourself, if you want to do the SEO side of it yourself, once again, that's hookagency.com/DIY, much more in depth. I just wanted to give you guys the basic. Here are the key things to focus on. And it's really these 3 things consistently. If you did something for these 3 things every single week, you will be headed in the right direction, but you gotta go hard. You gotta go hard and you have to take action. You can't trail off after 3 months. So I hope that helps. And hit us up, hookagency.com, and there's a link below for scheduling an intro call. It's a 20-minute intro call, no pressure. We just give you our pricing. We talk with you about what you're looking for, and we will set up a deeper strategy call if appropriate, and we'd love to be of service to you and your team if it makes sense. But otherwise, I hope you check out that DIY course. Bye.